Arc Raiders has confirmed wipes, but it's not how you'd ever imagine. In a new developer blog posted by Virgil, the game designer for Arc Raiders, the team finally sat down to talk about something that's been on the minds of almost every player who is pretty experienced with extraction shooters following this game. The question of wipes. So for extraction games, or just games like this in general, that word alone can trigger an avalanche of emotions. Some players love the idea of a clean slate, others absolutely dread it. So when Arc Raiders said from the start that they don't intend to do mandatory wipes, people were left wondering what that actually meant. Was it a marketing talk? Was it just temporary? Or were they genuinely planning something new? Now we finally have an answer. And instead of doing what Tarkov or other extraction style games have done, which is forcing everybody to restart every few months, Arc Raiders is going for something a little bit more personal. They're introducing what they call the Expedition Project, and it just completely redefines what a wipe actually is. At its core, the Expedition Project is a voluntary reset system. That means you, as the player, choose when to start over, not the developers. Not a global timer, not a season. You decide when it's time for a new beginning. And that feature unlocks once your character hits level 20, and at that point you gain access to something called the Project. Think of these as like a large account-wide objective that you can do, and challenges that represent the next step for veteran raiders. So the first of these is the Expedition Project, and finishing it gives you the choice to reset your character from scratch. And here's the kicker, right? It's not mandatory. It's not tied to a seasonal patch, supposedly, and it's something you can opt into entirely on your own terms. So from reading the blog post, the way it works is it's structured around a repeating 8-week cycle. During those 8 weeks, you can slowly make progress towards completing your expedition project. And it's not a small task. The devs kind of like designed it as a fairly large time investment, but more importantly, there's no punishment for taking your time. When the 8th week arrives, that's when they call a finalization window, and when you're eligible to commit to your expedition, and if you've met all the requirements, you go on this expedition, aka you wipe. If not, you can just keep going. Your progress carries over seamlessly into the next cycle. So unlike other games that wipe the entire universe on a schedule, Arc Raiders kind of like, it respects your pace. It doesn't demand that you play every day or burn out just to keep up. And I think that's the underlying philosophy that Embark is trying to go for, which is respecting your time investment. Because mandatory wipes do have their benefits, like resetting the economy, letting everyone start fresh, having everybody be on an equal playing field from day one. But mandatory wipes fail to respect players who can't sink a million hours in each week. For example, me, I have a full-time job. Those players end up feeling like they kind of like their time in the game didn't really matter just because it's gonna get reset anyway. I only made like 20% progress while everyone else is already 150%. That kind of thing. So instead of following that kind of tradition, Arc Raiders is testing something that could be a little bit more inclusive, and it's a system that gives the thrill of a fresh start without taking away the progress you've earned unless you decide to give it up. Now, of course, because this is voluntary, that kind of raises the question, what actually happens when you do reset? What do you lose? What stays? And in the blog post, the breakdown is kind of clear. So if you commit to an expedition, you lose everything that defines your character's gameplay progress. So your levels, your skills, your gear, your inventory, your crafting, and workshops, they're all gone. It's essentially a total character reset. But thankfully, not everything gets wiped clean. You get to keep all of your cosmetics, whether they're earned or purchased, along with your achievements, your rankings, and metagame progression. Anything tied to your account identity or tied to real money remains untouched. And here's something that's kind of cool, right? So after completing an expedition, aka wiping, you won't have to redo the new player grind all over again. Like the features like a map and a basic systems or the tutorial thing that you unlock during your first playthrough will be available right from the start. You don't have to grind to unlock a map, basically, and you don't have to go through like the, oh, this is how you sprint section. It's just completed. So even though you're starting quote-unquote fresh, it's not from square one. It's more like a prestige system with like a smart streamlining to remove the tedium. And talking about all this, people are probably starting to wonder, why would anyone willingly do this? Why would anyone willingly restart their character? Why throw away your progress if it's not required? So the way they answer it is in incentives. So the devs haven't locked down every reward, so they're not 100% sure what they're going to give us yet, but they have a strong idea of what to expect. And so going through the blog post, they say completing an expedition will offer like a permanent account unlocks and like unique cosmetics that can only be attained this way. And then they're also talking about some temporary account-wide buffs that last through the next 8-week cycle, but I'm kind of curious what those buffs are. Hopefully it's not something like pay to win or something, right? I guess it wouldn't be pay to win, I guess play to win, but still, that's hopefully it's like a XP buff or something. But apparently those buffs will stack in magnitude with each successful expedition up to like a certain cap. And so it's a system that rewards players who continuously engage in the cycle of 8 weeks. But we don't know fully yet, so when the game fully launches, we'll figure out more. So the goal hopefully isn't to create like a play to win, pay to win, or prestige imbalance, but to offer players like something that's convenient or quality of life perks for those who choose to participate. So I hope, think things like faster crafting times, or like a smoother resource gain maybe, or exclusive vanity rewards like a player banner. It's like, that would be cool, right? Hell, you know how like this is a paid game? What if every time you prestige you get like $10 worth of premium currency? I don't know, that might be a good idea too. So in many ways, this like expedition system acts as Arc Raiders' answer to the burnout problem that plagues most persistent shooters. Like global wipes are exciting for about a week and then they become very exhausting. You lose everything, you have to rebuild, and then months later it all disappears again. It's a cycle that works for a very specific audience, but it kind of alienates a huge portion of players, me included. Arc Raiders seems to be trying to split the difference, maintaining that feeling of renewal while allowing long-term players to keep moving forward uninterrupted. So keep in mind, it is still early. Everything described in this blog post could change between now, launch, post-launch, maybe 2026. But the concept alone shows that, they put a lot of thought into this system, and it shows confidence, and Embark just being like, hey, we're not chasing trends. We're not trying to be Tarkov third person. But Embark is just basically trying to evolve the genre. It's trying to get the genre's biggest frustrations like progress wipes, economic inflation, burnout, and asking like, what if we handled that differently? What if we make it better? It's smart design with like empathy behind it, I think. And for the game that's been under the radar for a while and most recently getting a lot more exposure, this might be exactly the kind of news that reignites community interest, makes it so that the people who've never played extraction shooters want to play them more. So whether you're a hardcore raider who lives in the thrill of the reset or casual player who just wants to play at your own pace, this system kind of hopefully gives you that kind of freedom to choose your own rhythm. So yeah, Arc Raiders has confirmed wipes, but it's definitely not the kind that frustrate or divides the community. And so this time it's on your terms. You decide when to start over, you decide how to progress, and what kind of journey you want to make through the Rust Belt. And honestly, that's one of the most refreshing takes I've seen in a long while. And I'm just kind of looking forward to the game in general. So, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next Arc Raiders video. Peace!